Thank you very much. As said, I would like to talk about MedTech today, tomorrow, and beyond, which also kind of represents our booth we have over there, which I warmly invite you to discuss all these topics. As you see, I'm from Braun, and it was just mentioned Aesculap, which is one division of Braun. And before starting with the today, tomorrow, and beyond, I would like to say some words to Braun. Our mission is to protect and improve the health of people around the world. And that is exactly so. On the one hand, protect, on the other hand, to improve. That is exactly what we try to do. So for Braun is really going into communication with partners, with startups, with customers, and creating value together. And therefore, I would, as there are many startups in the room, I would warmly invite you also to the booth and to discuss topics, how we can share expertise, how we can work together, how we can influence each other. At a glance, Braun has about 55,000 employees, and we are active in 64 countries and have a turnover or sales of roughly 6.2 billion euros. So a pretty big company, but family-owned German company, and this is also represented in the amount of corporate social responsibility projects, where we do a lot of those activities. But let's come to the today, and how is MedTech today, and what are companies, especially Braun, working on. And therefore, I would like to start with the product portfolio that we have, and I'm not going into detail into of all of these topics, but just to show you the broad portfolio. On the one hand, we're working on acute dialysis, incontinence, infection prevention, pain therapy, on also wound management, and not to forget general open surgery and laparoscopy, things like that. So it's a pretty broad portfolio, but it's not about, today is not about selling single products to the hospital, but it is about how to bring value to the hospital, and with that also the products. So we understand ourselves as a solution provider. So when the patient enters the hospital, he will be treated with more than one product from the Braun portfolio, and he will leave the hospital, go to rehabilitation, for example, and there will be further treated, for example, in the stoma care. So the question is, how can we do that? And we do that by linking the therapy field with our expertise, and also linking the different stakeholders, like the pharmacist, surgeon, the hospital and administration, because there's more and more buying decisions switching from a surgeon to hospital administration. So you need to provide value to them and to show them. And so we are linking that. We provide process optimization within the hospital in order to create value for them, but also share our expertise and make them work together, and by that really fulfill the total pathway, as we call it, so really following the patient through the hospital to rehabilitation. This is also shown in the Aesculap Academy, a partner for medical training and education. So we do train surgeons and medical professionals in several fields. So in 2015, for example, we trained about 74,000 people worldwide, and gave them access to new technologies, to new products, and made them aware of that, and with that brought safer treatments to hospitals and more knowledge to hospitals. But this is more on the solution side. If we're talking about products and what is currently going on in the field, we see that, and I'm sorry for the really crappy slide there, is somehow messed up. One example is miniaturization. So in surgery in general, miniaturization is very important. We see new surgical techniques that are enabled by that. We see, if we look at visualization and better camera systems, 3D visualization brought into the OR, we see that we have a reduction of trauma for the patient, faster recovery, shorter hospitalization time, lower amount of total cost, and in some points also access to treatment for patients that would otherwise not be treatable. So minimally invasive approaches are something that can help patients that could not undergo surgery, for example. One example you can see in the bottom left corner if you look at sternotomy. So that is something where you open the chest in order to reach the heart and do surgery there. Normally you do a large cut, open the chest and do surgery. Nowadays it moves more and more towards smaller incisions, smaller access, but therefore you need really good visualization in order to perform the surgery on site in a very small cavity. And this is, for example, realizable with the Einstein Vision system, a 3D endoscopy system, which can also be seen at our booth, and you can really try it out on your own and see the difference between a 2D system to a 3D one, where you can really have a perception of depth and a 3D vision. But also robotic surgery is coming more and more, and you see here the Da Vinci system, which really provides freedom in like you have with your hands via minimal access ports. So that is also something where you see improvement of treatment with less trauma, and by that better outcomes. What is happening in MedTech? We're talking about tomorrow. We see at the booth, we discuss 4 topics, and are happy to discuss with you 4 topics. On the one hand, the Center of Innovation, the Brain Factories. Sören Lauinger gave a short talk on the stage about that. So this is a co-creation center we are currently setting up, where we really want to provide value beyond the product. So see our customers and want to share with them our approaches, but also want to get their input on problems they have and on solutions they need, which are not related to the product. So this is kind of working like a startup, where you can do fast prototyping, where you can work on or create in a very fast way, and thus solve problems for customers. There we are also happy to all 4 topics to invite you to discuss at the booth. Second topic is big data and health. So how to provide value based on data. On the one hand, the data needs to be there, but just having data and analyzing it does not generate value yet. So value could be value to the patient, to the hospital, or to partners. And this is something very important for us. For example, knowing about the lifetime of our products, how many sterilization cycles did they undergo, what is total cost of ownership, all that we need data for. This is on a small basis. If we look at the patient, and if we look at disease patterns related to individual status of the patient, this is then on a bigger scale. The third one is future of hospitals and rehabilitation. And there's the question that we raised: how will future treatment look like? So we will for sure need better outcome. We need faster rehabilitation of the patients, and all that provided with lower costs. And this is something very, very tricky, because treatments get more and more expensive. At the same time, the cost pressure increases. The society is aging. There's more cost for healthcare systems, and how to work on that. So how can we provide value to hospitals, that they can, for example, release the patient to their home earlier and still monitor what they're doing. So rehabilitation after hip or knee surgery, for example. Physiotherapy, is there a need for a patient to be in the hospital, or can that be done at home and monitored by the physiotherapist in the hospital, and only interact with the patient if there's some problems occurring? And finally, the out-of-the-box extending the team topic is we would like to discuss how to work with startups, because startups, the need is not only for money. I'm pretty sure all startups need funding, but they also need guidance and someone who has access to the market. They need a partner to discuss things and how to implement that, a partner who probably has access to the whole market. Entrepreneurs, are there ideas that could be developed together with us? Users of products, and finally you, if you have an idea that could fit to our portfolio, we are very happy to discuss with you and maybe find a way how to create a business together. All that is with the question in mind, what could disrupt our business? So we are aware that there's a huge change going on currently and that business can be disrupted, but the question is how is our business affected and how can we be part of that? Again, sorry for the slide. One example for all that, what I just mentioned, is digitalization. We see connection of all available data. We see a huge step into the quantified self, and we also see new digital business fields and models that could be of value for us. But we also see that we need a way how to deal with data safety. If you look at one of the headlines, hacked medical devices may be the biggest cybersecurity threat in 2016. This can be true. There were insulin pumps hacked, there were anesthesia devices hacked, and this is something that is very critical in health tech, or in all other areas too, but here we are dealing with life of patients. So on the one hand, the data safety of patient data, but also system safety are things that are very important, and I'm looking forward to exchanging also with the fintech sector, for example, because they are well aware of data safety and how to deal with that. But this is not only the safety, it's more a holistic approach from the planning, where you have 3D visualization, where you can plan your each and every step in more detail and prepare for what might come up, to rehabilitation, where we're talking about smaller devices like pacemakers that fit directly into the heart, or autologous implants made from own material of the body, so it can't be rejected or will not be rejected, to prevention and treatment. So it's not only, as said, the protect and improve the health of people around the world. It's not just improving by doing surgeries. If we can protect it and kind of prevent surgery, this would also already be a very good thing to do. And if you're talking about the beyond, there are some mega trends with influence on MedTech. On the one hand, there's the demographic change with increased life expectancy, increase of population, overpopulation of specific areas that we see, but depopulation of other areas, and definitely changing requirements of an aging society. All that will have influence on the whole healthcare system. So how will we pay for that? If I look at diabetes numbers that are currently on, and we had a startup talking about that, this is increasing and increasing. And personally, I think we need solutions for that. On the second thing is that we have a huge progress in health. So we have increased hygiene and life standards. We have change of disease patterns, and this increasing healthcare costs I talked about with an increasing price pressure. Also, the technicalization and individualization of medicine are two things that kind of drift apart a bit, but belong together. On the one hand, if you can do treatments based on your DNA profile, you need a huge number of huge data set to analyze exactly how the DNA profile should look like to do personalized treatment. But the treatment itself will be very personalized to an individual. So all this also brings up a rising amount of ethical questions, and that is. And the last two things I would like to talk about is, on the one hand, the internet and digitalization. So we see computer-based support in more and more areas. We see that corporates try to work like a startup. We see that we have new ways of communication and also data analysis and usage in real time. So all this does have an influence on the health tech sector. And if we're talking about intelligent products and infrastructure, we see that there's a development of information technology, sensors and robotics, and this kind of can disrupt the advancement in nanotechnology and bionics can disrupt the business as it is today, or the treatment as it is today. We also see fusion of technologies, so technologies from consumer electronics coming into the health tech sector or from other fields, and also cooperation and fusion of man and machines. And with that, I would like to apologize for the slides that got messed up in some way, but I hope I could explain it even without the slides showing everything that is important. And I'm happy to welcome you at the booth to discuss all these topics, but also open for questions now. Thank you.